Today I'm going to talk to you guys about aspect ratios and how to use aspect ratios in your skateboarding filming. So when you are going out getting some tricks, you'll be able to use the perfect ratios, so it makes your tricks look so much better than if you don't know. So let's just get into it. There are two main aspect ratios. So you have the vertical aspect ratio when you're filming like this, and this aspect ratio is 9:16, or what you're watching right now, which is 16:9. So 16 across, 9 upward. When you are filming skateboarding, which one is better? It's both. It depends on your situation. When you are filming skateboarding, you have to make sure you know which aspect ratio to use in what situations. If you go on Thrasher right now and you look at their videos, all their videos are on YouTube and all their videos are 16:9. And if you notice, most of their clips are filmed with fisheye. Just like I have on this camera, this is a fisheye. Why is fisheye used for horizontal aspect ratio? Very simple, because they're using the whole entire 9:16 frame to film the skateboard and fill it up as much as possible with the skateboarding trick. You'll never see a vertical fisheye, simply because if you try to put a fisheye on this body camera and you try to film like this, most of the time you're going to either only catch the sky and catch the floor, but not the skateboarder or the skateboarding trick. There are some videos here that aren't used with fisheye for the whole entire video, but it is 16:9. However, most of those clips are being used for perspective instead of the actual trick. So if we take some clips from Thrasher, you'll see that they have two angles, one with a fisheye and one angle for the perspective of how big the obstacle was that they were trying to do a trick on. That's why they use 70mm, 200mm, 100mm, 55mm. That's what they use to show perspective of how big a set is. If they are shooting photos, they may also want to use those lenses as well. What aspect ratio you should use right now? It depends on what platform you are using it for. So if you are using for YouTube, of course you're going to use 16:9. Now if you're using for Instagram, it's better to use 9:16. Now before you actually start to film vertically, don't use a fisheye. Lenses also matter when you are filming for Instagram or TikTok or YouTube Shorts. Anything like that, you need to use a 18-55mm or plus lens. Very simply because you don't want to be filming the floor or the sky. If you try to film the floor or the sky, you're not going to be getting the skateboarding trick. The skateboarder is the priority, not the sky or the ground. Now, with horizontal footage, what you want to use is, of course, fisheye, because you're filling up the whole frame with the skateboarder. Now, if you're using a fisheye, you also want to make sure you have movement. So you don't want to use fisheye when you are putting this camera on a tripod. If you put it on a tripod, it's going to look really, really boring. And it's going to look very, very far away from what you're actually going to be skating, because you have to put the camera very, very close to where you want to get the trick. However, if you are using a tripod, you should use an 18-55mm or 35mm or 25mm, not a fisheye. Very simply because you want the obstacle to look as scalable to your body and to the skateboard as possible. So when you are standing on a tripod, your camera, 35mm, 25mm, just not a fisheye. So when you are filming vertical, it is very, very good for Instagram to have your whole body in the shot. What I mean by this is having your upper body, having your lower body, and having your skateboard under your feet, and having your whole body filmed all at the same time. It makes the footage look so much better, and it makes the whole audience more captivated to do so. However, there are some situations where you don't have a person following you, so what you want to use is a 25-35mm lens. So when you are filming for vertical footage and you are filming for Instagram, Shorts, or TikTok, it is always good to have a lens that is smaller. So what I mean by this is maybe having a 25, a 20, maybe even a 15mm lens. I would far to say that that lens would be probably perfect for Instagram, because you're just going to be filming and it's not going to catch the ground or the sky. It's going to catch the skateboard and going to catch the whole body for the whole scene. Now, however, when you are filming, it is also perfect to use vertical because you're catching the whole body. You want every single detail of the skateboarder filmed on your camera. So when you are editing in post, it's going to be so much easier to edit because you have the whole trick. However, when you are filming in horizontal and you need to use it for Instagram, you might as well not use that footage, and I'll explain why. Very simple, because when you are scaling it and you're cropping it in like this, you're literally cropping it in, it's gonna look so nasty. I can show you right now. I'm filming on this camera. If I try to scale it in, you'll see all the pixels being shown as I'm filming and cropping this. So do not want to do that. It's gonna destroy your footage. In situations where you don't have another person following you, you're just filming by yourself, if you have your camera on a tripod, it's gonna look so much better if you're able to zoom in your lens to 35 to 55 and put your camera a little bit more further. It's gonna make the obstacle look so much better and look a lot more bigger to the scale of the background and to your body. Now, if you go on Instagram right now, I would say Tony Hawk, because I remember one of his clips being used. If you actually look at one of his clips filmed on iPhone from the side of the vert ramp that he was skating versus a fisheye, if you were to put that fisheye only pointing upward on a tripod, it will look disgusting. And I'll tell you why. Because you need to make sure that your fisheye is following that person at the whole time that they are skating. And I'll tell you why. So if someone's going over the vert ramp, you want to make sure your fisheye is actually following them. Now, if you have an 18 to 55 millimeter and you don't have a fisheye, what you could do is put it on a tripod. Don't follow them. Just put it on a tripod, zoom in, and make sure they come into frame and you film it as it's going for a different perspective. You don't want to use this kind of lens at 18 to 55 millimeter as a close-up shot. It is not going to work, very simply because this close-up shot is not going to catch every single detail. It's going to catch all the side. You might actually miss the trick that's being done by another skater if you are using this kind of lens. You want to make sure you have the perfect lens for the job. That's why in the beginning I said it depends on your situation of your ratios and what you need to use in what situations. It depends on where you have to be. So it depends on what trick is being done, where it's being done. What do you want to show? Do you want to show the spot or do you want to show just the trick? So if we take a whole bunch of tricks like the Tony Hawk vert ramp, like I mentioned earlier, if we shoot, let's say, 18 to 55 millimeter, you're not going to go up close to Tony Hawk's trick and try to film it like this. What you want to do is you want to get a fisheye and make sure you're following him with a fisheye to catch the trick and the ramp as he's landing. If you are using 18 to 55 millimeter, you could put it on a tripod from a far distance, and you could also film like that as he comes into frame, catch him do his trick, and once he catches it doing his trick, he goes back down. But you want to catch the whole land and the whole pop. So basically what you want to do is you want to catch the pop as he's coming up and the land as he's coming down. And you want to catch all of that in one frame. And you don't want to use 18 millimeters because 18 millimeters is going to catch the whole ramp. You just want to catch where he is popping and landing. Of course, you had to adapt to the situations and you have to learn on your own. But these are just some key tips I wanted to point out to you guys if you guys are filming for Instagram or Shorts, or if you're filming for YouTube like I am right now. I'm filling up the whole background with everything I have in my room. So that's basically what I wanted to teach you guys and to give you guys an idea of how to film skateboarding. Of course, I think that for skateboarding, I think vertical is so much better. However, if you are filming for YouTube, you don't have a choice. If you look at other YouTube channels, most of their skateboarding tricks are really boring. You just get like a faraway lens and they have no motion in it. It's just a guy on a tripod and they're not going to be, they're not going to be using fisheye. They don't have time for that. That's why Thrasher only uses fisheye, so you can actually get into the trick and actually show the whole trick, and the whole video is basically filled up with the skateboarder and the skateboarding trick. So that's why I'm trying to give you guys perspective on what you should use and when you should use it. However, if you guys do want to learn more, you guys gotta just experiment on yourself and make sure you have your own camera and actually test out your own camera and different kinds of angles for it. But that's pretty much it. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Please check out the links in the description so that way you guys could support the channel. Please like, subscribe, leave a comment below on what you guys thought about this video. And I'll see you guys for the next one. Peace out, y'all. Wow, that ending was so smooth, bro.